Look out. Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sports writer Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
We haven't got enough buses for tonight. What a fiasco these last couple of weeks have been. Welcome in. Again, Bob, Curry, and Rich here. I tell you what, we got to start where every discussion the last 2 weeks has started, and that's with Lane Kiffin's move from Ole Miss to LSU. It is not the first time Lane Kiffin has stiffed a team. It is not the first time Lane Kiffin has been told, you can't coach the team you've been coaching all year in a big game. It's great drama, great theater, and all kinds of sidebars to it, with the agent who represents Kiffin also representing a whole bunch of the ESPN people who said during their shows over the weekend that, Lane should be allowed to coach his team at Mississippi. Obviously, Lane goes under the bus. Curry and Rich, who else do we throw under?
Jimmy Sexton's the agent you're talking about. I think we should point out that we're doing this on Tuesday night, right after the committee has selected the 12 teams, and they've got one more meeting Sunday when they announce the finals. So if we want to go right to Lane Kiffin before all that, that's fine. I used to be charmed by this guy. I thought he was, with all his trolling of teams and players and coaches, he was kind of a B-level Steve Spurrier, who I've always liked, and who Lane apparently, that's one of his, heroes as well. But the last few weeks, the last few hours of this guy's, over the weekend, I just got so sick of him and his, his lies. I would call them lies. I think the thing to debate is the fact that he, on the way out, he tried so hard to still be coaching the Mississippi team after he's leaving Mississippi, which I think is ridiculous. Right. I don't know if you guys, some people have agreed with that point, but I don't.
I don't either. I don't. The funny thing about it is, he kept on saying, well, my decision will be made after the Mississippi State game. Well, if he was going to stay, he would have said, I'm staying.
Yeah.
So why is this big decision? We're waiting until after the Mississippi State game. Obviously, if he was definitely going to stay in Mississippi, he would have said, guys, to the players, I'm staying. But I agree with Curry. You can't have him coaching that game. What? I'm a player. I'm going to play for my coach who's leaving us. He's leaving us, and he keeps on saying it has nothing to do with money. That's so bizarre. It has nothing to do with money. Give me a break.
Curry, you've been around.
I'm not.
Anytime they say it's not about the money, it's about the money.
Right.
I'm not so sure it is about the money with this guy, because the money, apparently Mississippi was going to give him the same amount of money. They said they'd meet anything. So I think he really went to a place he thought he could win the national championship easier than at Mississippi. But the way he did it, I loved especially his last, at the game, at Mississippi State game, after the game, he's talking to Taylor McGregor, who, by the way, has become my favorite sideline reporter. when he told her, I've got a lot of praying to do. Now, since when did he become a big God Squad guy? I've never heard of that. He had a lot of praying to do. And then I loved when he got into the snit with the Mississippi beat guy that's been doing it for 15 years. And he called him, he had a column where he said, hoes don't turn into housewives, which I thought was a great line. And that apparently got under Kiffin's skin. And he confronted the guy outside the locker room before he went in. And he said, "You call me a hoe. Let's see how that goes in there." He tried to intimidate. When guys try to intimidate the press, that really gets to me. The guy's name is Ben Garrett, by the way. But And then, then he did the praying line. Then he started to blame Mississippi State for stealing his team's uniforms from the locker room. Remember that? I mean, he's like Trump. He tries to, go on to another subject so he doesn't get nailed for this subject. The guy, he's right out of the Trump playbook.
Hey, I got a line. Speaking of lines from reporters, I would like to give myself credit for this line, but I read it over the weekend. Barry Trammell of the Tulsa World, writing about Kiffin, said, and Coach, you know this line: there is no I in team, but there is an M and an E.
Yeah.
And that's in the end.
Well, since I mentioned Ben Garrett's name, one of my favorite lie that Kiffin did was after this tiff with this guy, he said to him in the press room, "I don't even know your name."
Yeah.
The guy's been covering his team for 15 years. Okay. That was as big a lie as saying that he hadn't made up his mind to go to LSU, like Rich says.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You haven't made up your mind. He decided weeks ago to go to LSU, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, come on.
He was holding out. He was holding out so he could. He thinking the AD would let him coach in the playoffs. That's what he was holding out for. Because he figured if he announced it 2 weeks ago, there's no chance. He was hoping the AD would change his mind, and the AD didn't. He stuck by his guns, which was the right thing to do.
And if he
and Kiffin loves the attention too. He loved to be in the last week of the football season, be all that anybody talked about.
And if he had taken the LSU job 2 weeks ago, Mississippi would have said, "Okay, you're out of here," and let the guy that they have since promoted, and let us all root for our favorite new head coach, the former defensive coordinator Pete Goldring, who has been tasked with make something out of this. And right now, Ole Miss would be playing in the first round of the playoffs at home, which is terrific, against a team we're not yet sure of, either maybe Virginia, maybe Tulane or North Texas, or maybe Duke, or maybe Miami. Who knows?
And everybody was thinking that if Kiffin left, the committee would penalize Mississippi, but actually they moved them up.
Yeah.
In the they moved him up a few slots to number 6. I think that Kiffin's exit this time reminded me of all his other exits. When Al Davis and the Raiders called him a born liar when he got rid of him, and then at Tennessee,
Al Davis. How about that, Curry?
At Tennessee, he left a trail of hatred. At Southern Cal, he gets fired on the airport tarmac. That was my favorite. And then at Alabama, Saban fires him before the national championship game because he was concentrating too much on his next job. I mean, this whole thing, but good luck to LSU, which is as screwed up a program as you could find. That's why I thought, and I think Rich agreed with me, we thought Kiffin was going to go to Florida.
I did.
Rather than go to this LSU program where how screwed up is that? I mean, the governor thinks he's running the program. They made a total sleaze move trying to weasel out of the contract with Kelly as he goes out the door. I mean, can you imagine LSU better be ready for
I mean, my prediction is Kiffin does not make it through the third season.
Yeah, NFL. He's going NFL after 2 years.
Because he's going to get run off. I mean, he doesn't win a whole lot real quick. They'll run him off. I mean, they ran off Brian Kelly.
Talking about liars, the governor said the new head coach was going to be from Louisiana. Was Kiffin from Louisiana?
Right. Yeah.
And they also said they were not going to put a big buyout in like they did with, but the big buyout is still there. If they fire Kiffin, they're going to owe him a lot of money when he goes.
And then there's a story that Spurrier was telling his assistant coaches, if you want to come with me, come now, quit the team and come now with me. I don't know if that's true. Apparently is the offensive coordinator going to stay though? What's his name? Weiss Jr.
Weiss,
is he staying?
The new head coach.
Yes,
the
he's
defensive
staying.
coordinator. Yes, because they named him the new head coach. He's got the job. Goldring, the defensive coordinator.
But the players love him.
And
They
the
gave him
players love him.
they gave him a standing ovation. And if you listen to the AD talk about him, you think he's glad Kiffin went because he's one of us. I mean, you couldn't talk any highly about a guy than he talked about him.
Is he Steve Fisher?
I don't know.
By the way, did anybody catch Kiffin's
Daughter
outfit as he goes off? A leisure suit. What's the deal with his leisure suit? Nobody's worn a leisure suit in 15 years, for God's sake. I would have fired him. I would have taken back the offer if I was LSU, right? Just because of the leisure suit. You know, I
think Governor has one too. So
I had a favorite line about this whole thing. I got to borrow it because I'm stealing it from Al Michaels, but he called the whole thing a cacophony of crap, which is such a great line. So good.
Hey, you guys want to rank the other coaching moves? Because, after the Kiffin domino falls, I don't say after, but as it falls, everybody else hires their coaches over the weekend, although there are still 9 openings, and there will be more when some of those guys get hired in other places. Looks like I think Arkansas made a pretty good hire. The Memphis coach. Auburn made a pretty good hire with the USF coach. Florida made a great hire. This Summerall, John Summerall at Tulane, who will be allowed to coach in the playoffs. Florida is going to let him do his thing in the playoffs before they let him have the job. The same thing is happening with North Texas's coach, who, if they go and if they are in, they're going to let him coach that before he goes to Oklahoma State, where he's got a lot of work to do.
I think that's so stupid. Summerall, by the way, is the guy that North Carolina wanted to hire, the AD wanted to hire until Belichick stuck his nose in and with his girlfriend. Have you been reading about the latest stuff on Belichick? How Belichick's daughter-in-law apparently threw a total fit a few games ago about the girlfriend, and Belichick had to cover up the girlfriend's butt cheeks with his own coat after the last game, after the NC State game. It was so cold, and she was wearing these hot pants with no cover up. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Well, wait a
minute, though. I understand she's talking to Penn State about the job.
Yeah, Penn State. That's the interesting thing about these remaining jobs is what is Penn State doing?
Who's going there?
Who?
I don't know. What names? I didn't even hear any names.
A bunch of the coaches involved have already signed up with their other schools already, right?
Today, the Brigham Young coach, today being Tuesday, the Brigham Young coach said no. He
said no, exactly. Yeah, they were
a great move. He needs to be where he is. I mean, that's he's a West Coast guy. He's a Western guy. BYU alum. Penn State would be it. That I don't think would be.
Well, a name that's still in the hunt, Rich, is your boy from the Giants, Dayball. They've been talking about him being in the hunt for the Penn State job.
He should take the whole Giants staff with him.
Well, he could, because the whole Giant staff's going to be gone.
If they're not, they're nuts. If they're not.
Hey, what do you think about Pat Fitzgerald at Michigan State?
Oh, I like that. I like that move. I really do.
That's an interesting move. He was kind of railroaded out at Northwestern after hazing incidents that apparently he would.
Well, he's the Prince of hazing, so he'll have a lot of room to haze there at his next stop, Michigan State. There's a great story about the Michigan State coach, Jonathan Smith, which, Rich, you would love you love the coaching errors. He, in one of his last games, I think it was Northwestern, he punted to the best kickoff returner in the country, one of the Big Ten, and he wanted to challenge the punter. So he kept kicking to him, and it cost him the ball. Of course, Michigan State was winless in the Big Ten. Did not win one game in the Big Ten.
And kept on punting to their best
Yeah,
returner.
yeah, and
Hey,
it cost him.
here's what.
He made one. He made a couple of huge returns that ended up in field goals and touchdowns. Then he made the play of the game. Of course, he made a kickoff return for a touchdown.
Quick
Yeah,
personal
he
story.
wanted to punt or kick to him, Jonathan Smith. So he gone.
He gone. Quick personal story. Year I was 1 year when I was at Tulsa, Barry Sanders was either freshman or sophomore at Oklahoma State, but he was playing behind Thurman Thomas. So all he did basically was run back kicks and then play during mop up time. So Tulsa kicks off to him. He runs it back for a touchdown. Tulsa comes down and scores. Tulsa kicks off again and kicks to him again, and he runs it back. And the head coach, who was only the head coach for 1 year, runs down to his special teams guy and says, why do you keep kicking to him? And he said, well, we got nothing else to, we got no other plan. The plan was to kick to this guy and take their chances. They didn't know that it was Barry Sanders. 2 years later, everybody knows who Barry Sanders is, but they didn't know him at the time, and big problem. Maybe the best hire, under the radar hire. Everybody says we want the next Kirk Cignetti. How about hiring the next Kirk Cignetti? The James Madison coach, the guy who succeeded Cignetti, who's had great success at James Madison, gets hired by UCLA. It's a mismatch
that's right.
on a lot of different levels, but it might, who knows?
Yeah. I love, didn't you, on another subject, didn't you love how the coaches lobbied to get into the playoff this week after their games? Like it went from Cristobal at Miami, just kept talking about beating Notre Dame and how head to head is the most important thing, always has been in every sport. He kept going on and on about his head to head win against Notre Dame, basically praying the committee will let him in. And then I'll tell you the team that's going to get screwed and not be able to play, who I think is really good, is Texas. Texas, is going to have 3 losses, and their number on the deal, they're number 13 on this, in the one that came out tonight.
That's about what they deserve.
Well, I just think,
They lost to
I really
Florida.
think they're good. And Sarkisian,
to Florida, game over.
well, I know, but Sarkisian said if they don't choose Texas, it'll be a disservice to our sport. He was great. Didn't you think he was great after the game? He had a whole speech laid out.
He had his speech ready.
Don't you think he's overrated as a coach? Seriously.
Yeah, of course, Rich, but they've been really playing good. And, Manning, everybody wants to see Arch Manning. I'm surprised, of course, the committee can't. There's not enough teams to boot out of these top 12 that Texas has. Texas doesn't have a chance. That's the problem.
Yep. What do you think about these two? While we're beating this to death, what do you think about? There's an 11 and a 12 spot still to be decided. Curry, your ACC is down to Duke or Virginia. It could be 7 and 5 Duke that wins.
I know. Yeah, what a disgrace. By the way,
they could be left out. They don't necessarily get the spot.
Exactly. Well, if Duke wins, I don't think the committee is going to choose Duke. I think they're going to go with, James Madison, Tulane, somebody else from the American or Sun Belt. Oh, yeah, I really believe that. And what an embarrassment for the ACC, which only has itself to blame with this stupid system where they have a 7-5 team playing the championship game and not Miami and not Miami at 10 and 2.
Yeah.
But that's typical. The Duke is going to get. By the way, Duke and Virginia, which will play for the ACC championship, Carolina had both those teams beat in the last minute, the Belichick disaster, and we lost both in the last minute of the game. But that's how bad the ACC is. I mean, come on. You talk about a league that's terrible.
Can we get the Giants or the Steelers to hire Belichick? So
not the Giants. I don't want not the Giants. I couldn't deal with that. His girlfriend around the Giants. Please no. Please no.
All right.
Well, if we're going to the NFL, I think
we're going there after a break. We got to take a quick break, and then we're going to the NFL. We're going to talk about the Giants because the only thing worse than the way they have played is the way their field goal kicker approach his field goal on Monday
It's
night.
my favorite.
We'll be back to throw Young Ho Koo and any number of other giants under the bus. Stay with us. Under the Bus is brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks on Hilton Head Island, hudsonsonthedocks.com. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. All right, let's go right to it. Monday Night Football and Young Ho Koo's field goal attempt that went awry, and it maybe
Oh my God, he tripped. He tripped.
Awry.
Oh,
he
still didn't get the kicker.
awry.
The kicker tripped trying to kick the field goal. He tripped over the turf. I have not seen that
Ever.
I've never seen
Ever. Ever.
that. I've never seen that.
Uh-oh. That's
Yeah,
not
he
good.
turned in.
Let's watch
He
this.
went from Young Ho Koo to Young Ho Whoops.
I felt good about the
It's-
holder throwing a touchdown until I didn't. Oh, what? He just kicked the ground?
What the hell was that?
Eli, it's like one of your fat
Banana
9-irons you hit. You just all
no.
grass.
Yes.
Oh, that was
You,
like,
you know what? Look at him. Look at. You know
Yeah,
what his
Dart-
excuse was? His excuse was that the ball was moving. The holder had the ball was moving, so he kind of stopped. Have you all the football games you guys have watched in your lifetime, from the high school level, from Pee Wee League? Have you ever seen something like that happen? Only
Nobody's
the
seen
Giants. Only
Yeah.
the Giants. That plus on top of being ahead in 5 games in the fourth quarter, not winning one of them. Not winning. You're ahead 5 times and not winning one of those games.
Well,
And then
that wasn't one of those.
Do you think he's gone?
no,
Is
not
he- is he-
not last night wasn't one of them. But last night the score was 27-20 in the first half, and they have 4th and 1. Why not go for it? I mean, you got 2 wins, so they're going to punt the ball to do what? So New England comes down the field, kicks another field goal. I mean, I don't understand it. It's 4th and 1. You're down 20 points. What is the purpose of punting the ball? Please
Yeah.
help.
and the one through- yeah.
I don't. The decision making is atrocious. Atrocious.
Was that a field? Were they close enough for me stubbed toe to try a
No,
field
no,
goal?
no, no. They weren't. No, they weren't close. Yeah, they still had a way to go. But why are you putting the
calling-
ball? You're down 20.
I got a new name. Me stubbed toe.
Oh, no. That's
So listen, so they lost 1 game this year because their former place kicker missed 2 extra points. Not 1, but 2 extra points. This is the NFL now. 2 extra points, and now we get a guy who can't kick. He can't miss it because he can't kick the ball.
But his record shows that he's never missed a field goal this year for the Giants, because that doesn't go down as a field goal attempt because he never kicked the ball. It goes down as a sack. And the Patriots are now, in a lot of people's minds, the number 1 team in the NFL.
That's
Is
hard.
Mike Vrabel a genius or what?
And Tennessee let him go. Think of that.
That's right.
Tennessee let him go.
They would have taken Kiffin if they could have, but instead they let go Mike Vrabel, and he has done a terrific job.
He has. He really has. So
Well, and my boy Drake May
Yeah.
is everybody's talking about MVP for him. He
Yeah.
really looks good. He's so calm, and he
he's
looks
very
like
calm.
he looks like Brady back there. I mean, he really, the Patriots play just like they did with Brady. It's amazing the comparisons. But I got a question for you guys. Why are the Eagles and the Steelers and the Ravens awful? So awful. Why are they so awful? What happened to the Eagles? What happened to Lamar Jackson? Have you seen him recently?
Yeah. What happened to Barkley? How about Barkley?
Well, what's going on, Rich? Why? I mean,
I don't. Well, we said this a dozen times. It's your offensive line. Barkley rushed for over 2,000 yards last year. Over 2,000. What is he doing this year? It's awful. If you don't have the offensive line, you're not going to be successful. It's as simple as that. Same thing with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have the time to do what he normally does well. And the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he's 41 years old. He can't get out of his own way.
141. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's a washout. It's a washout. And
yeah.
everybody's how about it's gotten so bad that they're chanting "Fire Tomlin" in the stands, Steelers fans. I mean, Tomlin's been there 18 years. I mean, don't you think it's about time? I mean, that's too many. That's too many.
Also,
That's too
Curry,
long.
the last 10 years, I mean, they haven't won a playoff game.
No.
Think about that. They have not won a playoff game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The guy's been there about
Right.
8 years too long. He's
Yeah.
been there about 8 years too long.
You know what will happen if they let him go? The Giants will hire him. You watch.
Well, yeah,
The Giants will
he'll
hire
get a job quickly, but
I would keep him. They need a quarterback. They don't need a new coach. I mean, they haven't had a quarterback. Tomlin's 18 years and he's had one quarterback. He had Roethlisberger for maybe half of that and did pretty well. And
when Bosa crushed Aaron Rodgers from behind, I didn't think he was going to get up. I don't know if you saw that, but that's when he went out and got the bloody face and all that.
Right.
I mean, somebody said he looked like that great picture of Y.A. Tittle.
Tittle, yeah, that's exactly right. It looks like Y.A. Tittle.
Yeah.
Y.A. Tittle was on his knees. He couldn't get up.
Do the Chiefs get into the playoffs or not? This is a question I thought I'd never ask.
Well, think about the teams who were picked at the top of the league at the preseason. Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills has struggled some. Kansas City Chiefs, the Ravens. Those are the top three teams. All three of them have struggled. All three of them. And I don't know if the Chiefs will get in.
The Chiefs play Houston this week, right? Is that a home game? I think it is.
I think it is. But
I think they're thinking if they beat the Texans, they've got a pretty easy road the last 4 games. They could go 5-0 and that would get them in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Probably.
The Texans are red hot. I mean, their defense as red hot, and the Chiefs' offensive line. And here you go. Back to you, Rich. They've got a patchwork offensive line, and Mahomes, doesn't know where he's going, and it's rough.
But why don't NFL GMs why have they not figured that out? You cannot win in this league without an excellent offensive line. You can't. Just can't. And defensive line too, because when you put pressure on the quarterback, then your D-backs look terrific, right? They don't have a whole lot of time to throw. Why? That's what the other thing is. I'm always baffled, like, why don't they come after the quarterback more often than they do? Why? Like the Giants lost that game when they were ahead 19-0, and then he decided, play 8 in a box and not come after the quarterback. Make him throw it quickly. Make him sure and get rid of it. Now, I know that the D-backs are kind of on an island by themselves, but put the pressure on the quarterback when you give him so much time. And the guys over and over and over again make the same choices, prevent you from winning, as they always say. Yeah. Why do they continue to do that? Help me. I don't understand it.
When they ran your boy, when they ran Dart out of bounds on that one play, I don't know if you saw that.
Yes.
Dart, I think wants to be the first guy to literally die on a football field. I mean, he loves to get hit out of bounds. He spends his whole day in the blue tent. Seems like to me. And then, did you see him after the game? He came out and said, "This is the way I play. I can't play any way up. This is me. This is what I do. I get hit. I get hit." Well, he's crazy, man.
It'll be a short career, won't it?
It will be a short career
if he keeps that up. Hey, we'll take another break and we'll come back. We're getting back on schedule again. Rich has got a whole list of brilliant coaching moves, particularly with time management. And we're going to talk to a coach who made a career out of managing time and obviously doing it very well. We're going to talk about all of that and a whole bunch of guys who've had time management issues, and maybe even talk a little NBA when we come back. Under the Bus is brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. Rich, you got a whole list. Let's just start from the top of just great management jobs done by coaches.
Okay, well, first let me start with Rick Pitino. So
You
I know.
always start with Rick Pitino. You start and end with Rick Pitino. I
Well,
love it.
I'm going to start with. I won't end with him. I'll start with him. So they're playing Iowa State. They're down one, right, on 4 consecutive possessions. They never call a timeout. Down one, come down, take a jump shot, miss it. Okay, that's fine. Iowa State comes down, misses. They come down again, down 1 point. Probably, I don't know, a little less than a minute to go. Kid goes in, drives, misses a. I mean, he was in traffic, but misses a layup. Boom, Iowa State comes down. They miss. They come down a third timeout, down 1 point. Never calls a timeout. Guy goes in the lane, misses. This time they foul Iowa State. They make a foul shot, make 2. So now it's a 3-point game. 3-point game. I think it's 8.6 seconds, down 3. Obviously, you need a 3-pointer. Do you think he calls timeout? Nope. He comes out, and guess who shoots the 3-pointer? Their center. Their center shoots the 3-pointer and shoots an air ball.
Edge of 4.
Yeah. Why
Right.
is he taking that shot?
Yeah.
Why is Rick Pitino not calling a timeout? Now, I've heard coaches say, well, if you call a timeout, the other team can set up their defense. And who gives a crap what the other team does? Take care of your own team. Worry about what your team is going to do. Did Rick Pitino want his center taking a 3-point shot to tie the game? Did he want those other 3 different guys taking a shot that they did? Why? He has a timeout left. Why do you end a game with timeouts left on your, that you have, not using one of them? Make sure your team knows what they're going to do at the end of the game. Now, obviously, you practice end of game situations for sure. I'm sure he does that over and over and over. Rick Pitino's a great coach now, don't get me wrong, but I don't understand how he does not call a timeout in 4 consecutive possessions, down 1, after missing the first one, missing the second one. How about now, Rick, decide, hey, guys, this is what we're going to do in the last 20 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it is. He should have, really, you're not inventing anything new. You've worked on this throughout the season, preseason, into the season. You just say, guys, this is what we're doing. We're running whatever play they have. But to see their center shoot the 3-point shot, oh my, holy mac, I'm over that. Okay, can I go to my next one? Let me go to my next one.
Rich, before you get off Pitino, let me climb on here.
Oh, I would love to.
Didn't he also ream out edge of 4 after the game, like going off the floor? I thought I saw him ream out.
I don't know. I didn't see
his center,
it.
who's the star player, by the way.
Right.
Edge of 4, that's his guy. But here's so the next game, St. John's play. I'll let you go to the next guy. But the next game they play Auburn.
Right.
St. John's plays Auburn. Auburn coached by Stephen Pearl, Bruce Pearl's son. And Bruce Pearl hates Pitino as much as anybody. It's, So, and Bruce Pearl's doing the game, and his son Stephen's coaching the game. Okay, so they look here. Pitino is so upset. He gets beat again. He's up by 11 at half. And he gets run out in the second half. Absolutely run out of the building.
Right. Yeah.
And Pearl said after the game, we told our team in the locker room, we're the better team. Act like it. So I mean, he really took. Then after the game, Pitino goes. He shakes Stephen. They have the lines to shake hands. The line going. He shakes Pearl's hand, whirls around, and walks the other way. He doesn't shake the hands of all the Auburn players. Not one of the Auburn players. What a Bush League move that is.
That is.
He shakes Stephen Pearl and he didn't even, he just sort of passed him by, and he whirled around and walked the other way. I'm watching that, and I go, I've never seen that before. Coaches go through and they shake the hands of everybody. He whirls around and goes back to the locker room. Come on, Rick, show some class. I'll tell you what he's done. He's so upset. He thought that St. John's has no outside shooters and they have no playmakers.
Correct.
And he thought he was going to get, our kid Ian Jackson from New York, who went to North Carolina. He thought Jackson was going to be the point guard and made the playmaker. He's not, and he's not a playmaker either.
Right.
And so Rick Pitino's kind of lost these days.
Well, Rick Pitino said when someone asked him and before the season started, who's your point guard? He goes, you don't have to play with a point guard.
Yeah.
You don't need to play. You don't play with point guards. that is such a BS statement there ever was. We don't play
Well,
with point
and
guards.
he's playing now with a white guy. He
Yeah,
to
right.
put that white guy at point guard. I don't even know who that is, but he
Well,
can't play either.
after one game, he figured out he needed a point guard, and he's the best one he has on his team. That's why they're in trouble, because
Yeah.
he's not very good. So,
Okay, move on. Move on.
okay,
Who's your next guy?
so here's Detroit Lions, okay? In the Thanksgiving Day, they're down 10. Their defense has not played well all day long. There's 5.5 minutes to go. So they're down 2 scores, right? They run the clock down on every play to the last second or two. I'm yelling at the team, do you realize you're down 2 scores and your defense hasn't stopped anybody yet? And they're taking the whole time allotment to run their play. Help me understand, why is that? Why is it? This is the
He's the same
NFL.
guy.
This is
He's the
not.
same guy. He took over the offensive play calling, right? And it's turned out,
Yes.
not to be. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that makes no sense. You're in the NFL. I mean, come on now. You're down 2 scores. They're taking their time. Like, you got to be kidding me.
Proving the line of the great Jerry Glanville. NFL stands for not for long, which.
All right, but the best one is for the last. This is the best one. Aaron Glenn, the coach of the Jets. So it's tie score. Now, Jets have only won 2 games this season. Tie score at home. They have the ball on the 34-yard line. They have no timeouts. Who are they playing again? I forgot all of a sudden. Atlanta. They're playing the Falcons. Falcons have no timeouts. Okay. There's 12 seconds to go in the game. The ball's on the 34-yard line. So it's what, a 51-yard field goal, right? 34 yards, 51-yard field goal.
51, yeah.
So what does he do? He runs a passing play and they get called for movement. So now it's backed up 5 years. So now it goes from 51 yards to 56 yards. Okay. Why do you have to run a play? There's 12 seconds. Are you worried that the Falcons are going to get the ball back after you kick a field goal and go 80 yards in 8 seconds? So what does he do the next play? He has him throw a pass. I mean, deliberately out of bounds, but he could have gotten called for holding. He could have gotten sacked, right? He did that 2 more plays. 2 more plays. He did that with 12.
Or he could have gotten 20 more yards and made the field goal.
Well, but he wasn't really trying to go down the field. He was throwing it out of bounds. Like, he threw it 10 feet over everybody's head out of bounds. He wanted to run the clock down to 2 seconds to kick the field goal. Now, they did make the field goal. He did make the field goal.
Yeah, it was a
56
miracle.
yards.
It's 56 yards. Yeah.
Right, and it just went over the crossbar like this. He just kind of flipped over there. But why? You're in the NFL. You're running 2 plays with 12 seconds to go. You're honestly worried about that they don't have any timeouts left. So if you kick the field goal with 12 seconds, now what's there? 8 seconds left. You worried about then go? I was going.
I thought he was going to kick it several plays before that. With like a minute to go. I thought he was going to kick with a minute rather than run these plays and fear of fumble, fear they could do anything.
Right.
To lose the ball.
If he would have gotten sacked, the game would have went in overtime. Or how about a 15-yard penalty for holding? Because the guy's in the pocket waiting for the clock and then he throws it out of bounds. One of the guys going to call for holding. But they did get penalized 5 yards when one of their offensive linemen moved. I mean, I've never, that's, even the announcer goes, I've never seen this happen before. It's bizarre. It's ridiculous. All right, I'm off. I'm over. All right,
those 3 things. Soapbox, you're off that soapbox. You got anyone else to throw under the bus? Let's go do last call on under the bus.
I don't. We already talked about the Giants place kicker, so.
Well, I want to go to college basketball and have a complaint that I think Thanksgiving weekend is really this thing called there's a new tournament called the Players Era. I'm sure you saw it in Las Vegas, where they had 18 different teams, and it's really and they pay them unbelievable amounts of money, NIL money, millions of dollars to the team that wins, which turned out to be Michigan. Michigan beat Gonzaga in the final. But the thing is, it's really the negative. It's put the Maui tournament, the Bahamas tournament. It's basically going to put them out of business. Mm-hmm. They're 8-team tournaments, and they don't pay them any money. It's so expensive to go, to take your whole team and all your fans to Maui and the Bahamas. And so those leagues, those tournaments got terrible fields this year because all the good teams went to this Eras thing in Las Vegas, and they didn't have brackets for this
Right.
thing. So they moved ahead deciding on point differential. And it was a total chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, after that, you played 2 games which were scheduled against teams, but then after that, none of the fans or even the teams knew who they were playing in the third game up until midnight the night before. Everybody was complaining; it was chaotic. And
think about Curry. Iowa State, who was 2-0, played Syracuse, who was 0-2. How does that make sense?
Well, and Iowa State won, but they were kept, so they were 3-0. But they were kept out of the Final Four because of this point differential, because they weren't playing. They were playing tight, close games and stuff.
Right.
Even though they didn't beat Syracuse by enough. They didn't beat Syracuse by enough. Tennessee and Kansas got in the third place game. Because Tennessee only by beating Alabama. No, who was it? Tennessee beat in the first round. Had a great game. Oh, yeah, Houston. They had a great game against Houston and beat Houston at the end. Great game. And so they got in because of that. But it was total chaos. Next season, the promoters of the tournament say they're going to have 32 teams and going to have eight brackets, basically four pods of 8 teams each. It'll be still total chaos, I think.
So they're still not going to put them in brackets? They're still not going to put them in brackets next year?
I'm not sure. It sounds like they're going to put them in pods and put them in a 4-team pod. But it was, it was so, I think it really affected the teams and the players. Like Michigan destroyed Auburn by 30 and beat Gonzaga in the final by 40. I don't know if you saw that, but Gonzaga's never been beaten like that in their lives.
Yeah.
And it could have been 60. I just think they were so confused and chaotic. Who am I supposed to play? When are we playing? Couldn't scout them, couldn't prepare. I don't know.
It's crazy.
Let me put an old man's vote in then for the old tournaments. Now, they were usually Christmas week, not Thanksgiving week, but the old holiday festival in New York and the All College in Oklahoma City and the Far West Classic in Portland and tournaments that Curry all covered, back in the day, where you had 8 teams, you played 3 games, and you went home, and somebody had a trophy, which was kind of nice.
Yeah,
and a bunch of people had all expense paid trips, and that was kind of nice. And
the holiday festival in New York was great. It was terrific back then.
Well, that's the way the Bahamas and the Maui tournaments are still like that. They've got 8 teams and they play through 2 brackets, and there's champion and there's a runner up, and blah blah blah. So
strange.
Those days may be over.
Was Carolina out in Vegas?
No, Carolina was busy getting their asses kicked by Michigan State, which also destroyed Kentucky. So Kentucky and Carolina, we're talking on Tuesday, are playing tonight. Carolina at Kentucky. Both of them got destroyed by Michigan State. So we have no back.
Then, huh?
Sorry?
Michigan and Michigan State are both pretty good then.
Oh yeah. Well, Michigan looked unbeatable in the eras. I mean, they've brought in so many good transfers from Cadeau, our guard from North Carolina. He's their point guard, and they've got this kid Landeborg, who they got from UAB, who might be Player of the Year. Have you seen him, Rich?
No, I have not.
Axel Landeborg. He's fantastic. Okay. And then they have a 7'4" center, Mara from UCLA, who's 7'4", and they start him. He gets about 10 points, commits 3 fouls, comes out, and they're just as good. They're really, Dusty May's really played this.
When you put the Big Ten, you think about Michigan State, Purdue.
And Purdue, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But when we get to March, will anyone remember what they did in November, huh?
Probably not.
Curious.
Except for the Miami football coach remembers the first game against Notre Dame.
All right, World Cup draw on Friday. That we're going to be throwing people under the bus next week for that. You know what's going to happen? The U.S. is going to get drawn into whatever is called the group of death, so that they're out early.
Your group of death. I like it.
You can see that one coming a mile away. So let's throw the U.S. soccer team under the bus even before the draw, just for the heck of it, to get a head start on next week.
Before we go, my last thought is it's a sad one for the University of Massachusetts football team, which is maybe the worst team in the history of college football. They lost their last game in pouring rain to Bowling Green, 45-14 at home on a Tuesday. What are they playing on Tuesday for?
So they could get home for Thanksgiving.
I guess, but they finished 0-12.
Well,
The only winless team in FBS. They were in 8 of the 12 games they lost by 4 touchdowns or more. They were last in the nation in points, yards. Defense was 3rd worst, and ESPN and some deal they ranked the teams. They were 239th best team in the country, just above Colorado State Pueblo, whoever that is.
Hey, Curry, here's a little side note. One of my former players is the tight ends coach there.
Seriously?
Matt Lehman.
Have you talked? Sure. Have you talked to
Matt
him this
Lehman
year?
says, well, this is interesting. Last year when they hired a new coach, he came from Rutgers. They fired the whole staff except for Matt. Matt was the only guy they kept on staff.
Really?
And he remained as the tight ends coach. And he said, as bad as they were playing, he thought they would have a decent season this year because they were going into the MAC before they played so many powerhouse schools. They still played 2 this year. They played Iowa and Missouri, I believe it was. But they thought by playing in the MAC, they'd do better. He was so pumped up about the head coach and the staff he brought in. But even at the end of the season, he said the morale of the team was very good. Even though they hadn't won a game, they were very good. But Matt Lehman, he's a terrific coach, even a better person, and I wish him the best of luck. But I hope they can somehow. They can only go up. They can only go up next year, right? They can only go up.
Yeah, these guys are great people. He's the great people. They played Buffalo. They played Buffalo. They led 21-20 with 59 seconds left and lost the game. And that was the closest, 0-12 for the year. Well, you know him, I guess, whatever. They moved up to Division I from in 1998. They were Division IIA champions in 1998. The team. I mean, maybe it's time to do what Idaho did and move back down.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. I knew they were in for a long season when they lost to Bryant, the second game.
That's right. That's right.
And don't play any of the Dakota schools because they're really good. We'll get into that next week when the North Dakotas and North Dakota States and South Dakotas all make it into the Elite 8 or whatever of
1AA.
Yeah, of what we called 1AA, the bowl championship or I don't know, remember what they call it, football championship series or whatever. Anyway, we've gone long enough. We thank you for spending some time with us. We want to thank Justin Jarrett and Wes Kerr, Worldwide Wes, the 2 of them, for producing this abomination. And we'll try to be better next time.
Well, in the immortal words of Lane Kiffin, I've got a lot of praying to do.
That's a perfect way to finish. Under the Bus is brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks. We've all got a lot of praying to do.